Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my show. I have a very special guest. She's actually a return guest. I cannot believe I have her back again. One of my favorite singers from the 1980s, 90s, and even 2000s here. Her name is Tiffany. I think you guys all know her, and definitely a 1980s pop icon. And she has a brand new holiday special out, single, and we're going to be talking about that. And of course, we're going to hear a little bit about how she got into where she is today. So welcome, Tiffany. How you doing?
Well, thank you. I'm doing great. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, happy holiday. Can you believe it's December already? Almost Christmas.
No, I can't. This is we've been, I'm always touring. I'm a full-time touring musician. Next year gonna shake it up a little bit. tiffanytunes.com, everybody. All things Tiff World. I do the cooking, Let's Food with Tiffany. I have my online boutique, Radical Reds, doing some jackets for Children's Miracle Network. And I'm just into all kinds of things, but still music, of course. So new music coming next year. And of course, the singles out for Angels All Around for Christmas. But no, I can't believe it's almost Christmas. I literally got home from Mexico. Before that, we were in the UK and then France. And I've been so looking forward to some downtime in the holiday season. And none of that's happened. So you know what, whatever it is, I mean, I'm thrilled to be having the new single and to do all the interviews and all of that, but I am not in Christmas mode. This is about as Christmas mode as I'm got.
Well, I'll tell you what, I got to see you in Epcot. I think it was in 2019. It was shortly before the pandemic happened, and I did get to go up to the stage with you, and you were sitting there singing right next to me. That was really fun.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite shows. Hopefully I'll be there next year. I'm hoping, cross your fingers, you never know until you get the phone call and then you see the lineup. But that's one of my biggest prayers. I love it. So yeah, hopefully I'll be there next year, but I love the whole experience, of course. I'm a huge Disney fan, of course. But just that closeness that you get to have with your fans, being there in one area, doing 3 shows a day. It's usually a little hot, but I know we kind of sweat together, sing together, hang out together. So, I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully next year will be the same.
So let's kind of go back a little bit because I definitely want to hear how you got started in the industry. Again, for anybody that didn't see the last interview, how did you get started into singing? Where did your roots come from?
My roots, well, I started singing at 9, professionally at 9. And, before that, I was like a pageant girl. My mom was a single mom. My parents separated when I was like 2. So I lived with my grandma and my mom. And somebody in the grocery store just kind of said, "Oh, wow, she's a really pretty little redhead. You should get her in pageants." And my mom was like, "Okay." My mom was a seamstress, not professionally, but she loved to sew. She sewed our outfits together, matching outfits and all that jazz. So, she thought, well, that would be fun because I could do her outfits and I could go, with her to, my mom was kind of a quiet person. So, I think she saw in me already, I was an extrovert. And so I did. We went to some of the pageants. I became Little Miss Norwalk. And we just kind of kept rolling from there. My older cousin was in dance. And I definitely wanted to be like my older cousin. So my mom enrolled me into dance and I loved it. I just was a ham. I just came out always singing. Even when I was little, I was always singing and performing. And, no one really took it serious because no one in my family was a musician or performer. So it was just something that I did. I used to also get told off all the time because my grandfather would be like, "Okay, honey, go in the kitchen, see if Mimi has a cookie for you." They were always like, "Get out of the way." And then my mom remarried my stepdad, I think, probably when I was about 7, 8 years old. And he was really the first one to notice that I was practicing in my bedroom. I would listen to records and want to sing them. And I loved any kind of performing that I could see. If it was bands playing, we used to go out and do fun family things at the fair. And I just wanted to be around the music all the time. And it was actually a friend of ours that lived across the street. They were musicians. They're still friends of mine. Their daughter, Tracy, is still one of my besties. So we met, we were little girls together, but her parents were musicians. And I'd go in her home and they'd always be playing on the piano. And my dad started to get to know them. And they were looking for investors in a record that they were going to go and tour. And do some Vegas gigs and some Texas gigs. And my dad said, okay, you know, I'll invest a little bit. And they had a going away party, a kickoff tour party. And of course, their daughter, Tracy, sang. And there was all these different musicians. And my dad was like, well, Tiffany sings. She sings all the time. And, you know, say something. And I didn't really know like the keys of songs or anything, but I knew songs. So I said, well, I know Delta Dawn. And I started singing and the whole room just went, what? And that was it. You know, Danny and Portia Stone Street, they just kind of pulled my dad aside and said, she's got a really good voice. I mean, you really need to do something with this. She's not shy. And so my dad kind of tested me a couple of times. He took me to a fair. I would just, again, me and my girlfriends, we were hanging out, and then the band asked me to get up and sing. I was out there watching, and they said, we got a little girl out here that wants to sing. Her name's Tiffany Renee. And I just jumped right up there, not a problem. And my dad was like, all right, if you're, you know, it's one thing to want to do things in front of a family, but in complete strangers, he didn't know if that's what I had. And I was not shy, like I said. So, you know, we were off to the races. That was, and it's still that way today. You know, word of mouth, connection, people going, hey, you should go over here. I think you should sing with that band and get your demos and get your photos together and all of that. So my family just started to learn what the industry was about. And at 10 years old, I came to Nashville, actually, where I live now, and worked with Mae Axton. And that all came through Hoyt Axton. My dad was a huge Hoyt Axton fan. You guys might know him from Joy to the World. Of course, that was Three Dog Night, but Hoyt Axton wrote that song. And he was also the father in Gremlins, and many, many, many other, you know, Jeremiah Was a Bullfrog, many other hits. And my dad was a big fan of Hoyt, and he stood by the bus many times trying to give him my demo tape until one day he, you know, he got it. And Hoyt said, well, you know, have her come on stage tonight. And, you know, again, I was only 9, 10. So I would walk into the club, be up right on stage, do 2 or 3 numbers, and then out the door we went. And, you know, Hoyt said, I think my mom can help her. Go to Nashville if you're serious about it. And we did. We came to Nashville. And that's when I first did my first TV shows and, you know, just the whole circuit. And I've been coming in and out of Nashville. I've lived here now for about 17 years straight, but I kept coming back to Nashville, even though I wasn't doing country by the time I was 14. It just, my mom was pregnant and my dad had a business in California. So we tried to make Nashville like a foundation, but it didn't really work out. So we ended up going back to California full time. And that's when I met George Tobin and did I Think We're Alone Now? But, you know, by that time I was already bitten by the bug. There was no going back for me. My dad was like, you really want to do this? And I was like, yes, I do. So we just tried to put the pieces together back in California. And I had done some rock stuff, you know, again, when I was only like 12. In fact, the new vinyl out right now, Shadows, it's a new vinyl. And if you go to tiffanytunes.com, you'll see it. That is my first headshot. I love it. I was 12 years old rocking some, you'll definitely see the wink to Michael Jackson in that leather jacket. I think my dad, my real father, bought me that. And like, I was like, okay, I'm going to wear my jacket, you know, and I got the feathered hair and I've got the kind of scowl on the face because my teeth were always like crooked. So I never wanted to smile. And they put makeup on me and I looked way older. And I was doing, you know, rock music before I actually got a record deal as Tiffany. But again, the people said the same thing, you know, your voice is amazing, but you're too young to be in clubs. You're too young to sing this kind of material. Wait until you're 18 and then we can do something with it. And so, I was in a Burbank studio singing country again. And that's when George Tobin found me and said, I don't know anything about country. Don't want to do anything rock. I want to take you pop. And, do you love the Beatles? And do you like, I Think We're Alone Now from Tommy James and the Shondells? And I was like, I don't know. I never heard it. And then that was it. We were off to the races. So that's my start. Of course, even that had its complications because I got signed to a major label and they put me in clubs again. I was going to New York and everybody loved the music, but I wasn't old enough to be in the club. So that was kind of short-lived. And I was going to lose the record deal. They were just going to go, okay, that's it. That was nice. And it was the mall tour that really saved it and made it all happen because that's where it made the most sense for me to be. I was already rocking the mall just as a teen. So, it made sense for us to do it. And then I remember when we moved out of the mall because it was, got so big, it was really sad for me. I loved being so intimate with fans. I loved having pizza after I sang and just doing my little signing and talking to people. I made lifelong friends. I really still have a lot of friends from the mall tour. And, it's a nice problem to have to go into the next venues but you lose that intimacy. And I think that's why now I do a lot of intimate shows, acoustic shows. Of course, we do full band and we do the rock and, pop kind of thing, retro rock. I always sing I Think We're Alone Now. And then, of course, they do Shadows, the new stuff. And it's not what people expect. They're like, whoa, okay, but they love it. Yay. But I do love the acoustic stuff because it just really gives you that moment to kind of take it down, tell your stories and, hear what you're just have that moment. Again, that's just kind of like the mall tour was. There was nothing planned other than these are the songs I'm going to do. The rest is intimate and whatever happens, happens.
Well, I'll tell you one thing I wanted to do before COVID was get you back on to talk about your remix of I Think We're Alone Now. And for anybody that doesn't understand that mall tour, you got to go see the original music video of that. And she's all in the malls. It's so much fun. But that second one that you did just took it up a whole new notch. And it was just so much fun to listen to.
We actually went back to some of the malls, which was great. Glendale Galleria. I think because they've changed it a lot. I mean, obviously they've changed some stores and things like that. But my mall sense, my spidey sense of the mall was like, no, this was the place. This is where I danced. So we stood there and kind of did the pan around, the circular pan around with the camera. And just, reminisce the escalator, the whole 9 yards, just went back to some of the places that I originally went to and then added some places. So we added my high school, which was a lot of fun. We added, there's a Burbank shot there of where I recorded the album, which was the studios for George Tobin. And then, of course, going down, Ventura Boulevard. In the original video, I passed my mom and my two sisters, and they're walking past me. And that's the one, we're running just as fast as we can. And I'm holding onto my friend's hand and we're running. This time, I got all my friends around and I made them dance. But, I had to give them a little bit of cocktails before. We stopped off. I cocktailed them up and then they danced. And it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Well, it was definitely fun to watch. And I just, like I said, I've been a fan of your music since I was a kid. I mean, I was born in 78, so I was still kind of young, but I still remember seeing all of the music on MTV, watching you sitting there on the magazine covers and stuff. So it was definitely a blast from the past to be able to see you sing it live, which I was very happy about. So let's kind of talk about your holiday single, Angels All Around. What made you decide to do a Christmas version?
I over the years have thought, about writing a Christmas album, a Christmas single. It's really hard because for me, I mean, I guess you could sit down and just write something fun. But I've always wanted to write something that is something you could play all year round, even though it's Christmas. It's something that stays with you. It's something that immediately, I like my ballads, and something that's going to be a reflection. And I think even prior to COVID, because I toured all the time, sometimes I got home right before Christmas when I was a teenager. And then sometimes, I've had so many people pass away in my family in December. And that was really hard on me. So it kind of turned to be a somber time for me. And all my Christmas songs became not, sad, but a reflection. Oh, I remember when my cousin was alive. I remember when we went to my grandma's. I remember, all of that. And then COVID, of course, hit. And I think over the years, I've tried to write some Christmas stuff. I've sang Silent Night and re-recorded some, just material out there. But really writing something, we've tried over the years and then thought, oh, it doesn't work. So, during COVID, I was being reached out all throughout like October, November time. And people were hanging on for dear life. I know I was, and they were sharing with me these intimate stories about what's going on in their lives. They were sharing with me, some pretty, I'm holding on kind of thing. And as a celebrity or as a person, period, you're just like going, oh, they're so fragile. I want to be careful what I say. I want to make sure that, I don't sound like I'm just, there's hope. They'll be okay. Cause this person is really entrusting me with their emotions and trying to connect. And, I know about sadness, and I know about grief and loss and all of that. So, what can I say to connect with them? But also, yes, you have to move forward. You have to believe, you have to have hope. So I was writing back these messages and connecting with fans. And Margie Hauser, who is a good friend of mine, we've written a lot of songs together. Higher, Just Another Day with Dave Day, and she comes to Nashville quite often. So I call her a fellow Nashville songwriter. She's actually in LA, but she spends a lot of time in Nashville. And we always try to get together and write stuff and just connect. So she was reaching out. She was actually here on a trip. That's when things were kind of opening up and you could social distance a bit. And she reached out and she said, I'm here. I'm doing some writing. Do you have the time? I said, well, come to the house. Mark, my fiance, my producer, my co-writer, we're working, and we're in the mood to write. Definitely come on down. So we started talking, and it was like, well, why don't we try to write something Christmas? And I was sharing with her the backstory of what fans were telling me and how people are feeling, and how at that time, I just wasn't sleeping. I was up in the morning, early dawn. I saw every sunset go down. I just was like freaking out because, I had a new album out. I had a tour. None of that was going to happen, from financial, almost ruin, to how do you get that back? And also like the world is shut down. This is crazy. So, a lot of fear probably was in me at the time. A lot of, I'm kind of somebody that goes, okay, we can do this, but I was like, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. So there was a lot of that going through me, and writing has always been my therapy. So, it was really just a real moment. We sat there, Margie started playing on the piano, Mark started playing a guitar, and they work out the music. I don't play an instrument. And so, but I have melodies that come through me, and we just started humming. And then it was something about angels, and angels to me is something that I feel that I do pray and meditate all the time. And, they're beautiful, but they're powerful, but they're comforting, they're all these things, and they're everywhere. And, they could be through a spiritual experience or from a person. You're such an angel. You were my the person that needed to be around me at this time. You never know what's going to happen. Life is like that. It's been like that for me. So, we came up with Angels, and then just started telling the story of how I was feeling, sunsets and early dawns, they keep me going on. That was me. That was how I was feeling. Every day, at least the sun comes up. That I know is going to happen, thank goodness. And that is that's real to me, and that's familiar to me. And then, the lines about talking about, the way it used to be, for me, again, that was, again, when my family was here, when my grandmother was here, when my dad was alive, because during COVID, those are the people that I wanted to see. Although they had never been through anything like this before, probably didn't have any advice for me. I just knew my dad's spirit was, a go-getter. He was always like, oh, come on, we got to, and that kind of push you along kind of guy. And my grandmother, I really just wanted to see her and be around her love and feel that comfort and feel that grounding. That's where I started Let's Food with Tiffany, because I started making a lot of my grandmother's foods to comfort me. I've always done food stuff. I've had now that I put a resume together, I've been doing Food Network, and Guy Fieri is my mentor, and I did a show with him and Rachel Ray. And so it's always been there. But, I never thought about opening up a food club or doing cookbooks, really. So I just started doing that and showing my fans, and opened up Let's Food with Tiffany Instagram and Facebook, and started doing recipes, and people were catching on to them. And also, saying, yeah, girl, you've been talking about food. You have your Lebanese chicken, and that was published, and we've been making it. I'm like, you guys have? So it just kind of took off. And of course, this is where I'm at now. I do have my first cookbook out, second one coming out next year with Chef Alicia. She's a celebrity chef in Las Vegas. And I go in January to finish it off with, the cookbook, and then get it going. But, nothing's going to stop me. It really was all of these things. I think so many people were trying new things in COVID, just it was the time to sit home and find yourself. I kind of had to. And I found a lot of different things about me that I want to keep going with, obviously music. But Angels All Around, we released Angels that year, and we couldn't go into a studio. We couldn't go the next step for production on that song. So we just released it, with a piano and a vocal, recorded here at my house. We have a studio called Red Rancho here. And it was just plain Jane, but we put it out, and it was great. At least we got it out there, and it really served something inside of me, but also it was for my fans. And this year, I have to say, Margie Hauser was like, I feel like this song got a real chance. We didn't really do the big production, and I think we should do it again. So we retitled Angels All Around and went into Sound Emporium. Of course, Mark Alberici, he produced it. And I got all my people together, all my girls to sing background, all my Nashvilleians who are lovely singers, Rachel Rodriguez and Dana Radford. And, they came in and rocked it out. We got the band back together, all the guys that play on my record, Cody Waggett and Jake Barr. And we had a good time. And the video's coming out next week. So it'll show Sound Emporium. It'll show, they've got some beautiful scenery in there where it's just beautiful trees with the snow falling. And it's always these types of songs. For me, I didn't want to pinpoint a story. I want people like the song to make it their own. And that's what I'm finding with this song. People go, oh, I'm still living that, even though it's COVID, I can't get back home. I've got to work, or we don't have the money, or, again, I was in a relationship, it broke up, or whatever. Then I just need this comfort. So, that's why as a songwriter, I write songs for people to rock out to, have fun with. but also for comfort when I do the ballads to connect, and hopefully it's a healing vessel.
It truly is. I know music got me through a lot. I've had a very hard, 3 years, something like that. So I understand, I understand. And honestly, in 2020, my show had to stop because obviously there's nothing going on in Hollywood. And so I had to reinvent myself, and I started to do different things. And, it was a time to reflect. And honestly, a lot of people said it was one of the worst times in their life, but I used it as a positive. And it sounds like you did too. And, we
it was
definitely
the
need
worst
those
time, but I think you had to, again, find yourself. I mean, I just, like I said, radical reds. I started painting jackets. I had 2 boutiques here in Nashville called Tiffany's Boutique. And, you can't really do that and then be on the road full time. Everything you do, you have to kind of really embrace. And I mean, I'm a multitasker now. So some days I'm like, but they work hand in hand. The music leads. And then, obviously my pop-ups can go with me on the road. You can shop with me before a show. I do Zooms where you can paint jackets with me for Children's Miracle Network. So keep my charity going there too. And then the cooking club that travels wherever I go. We were just in France. I was showing them all the different stores and places and chefs and things and learning French food. So you get to travel with me as well. But yeah, I mean, I think that was the whole point. If you looked at COVID, the world literally did stop. And it was the worst time for everybody. It was so scary. But, if you turned it around a little bit and embraced it, I definitely think I found all these different sides of me that I didn't really know, because you had to, which was uncomfortable. But, now we're on the other side. And like I said, I'm like, oh, I actually like this stuff. I'm keeping it.
Well, it's nice to see that you're able to mold and grow and stuff like that. And it's important. And now there's whole new aspects to your career and everything else that people can enjoy. And I think that's really fun. Yes. So I want to ask you, though, since it is Christmas time, I love to ask this question at this time of year. What is your favorite Christmas cookie? And what is your most treasured memory from Christmas?
My favorite memory from Christmas would be going to my grandma's house. Always chaotic, but lots of fun, lots of food. We were eating people. But yeah, I mean, just, all of that. My grandmother would make a ham and a turkey and all the trimmings. And, I mean, it was great. My family got together. We lived, in California, even though it's only 40 miles away here and there. That's 4 hours in traffic. So a lot of times we didn't get to see each other for months at a time, just because, my parents lived in Temecula, my grandma lived in Norwalk, and my cousin and my auntie lived all the way in the valley. So Christmas or birthdays or, special weekends, that was important to us. We could all be in one place. And it was always food related in my house because my grandmother was Southern. Well, she's German, but they located themselves in Arkansas and Oklahoma. So it was a mishmash of food, really. But then, that was amazing. And this year, I have to say, I'm doing 4 Angels all around. Let's Food with Tiffany is doing a sugar cookie. And we're going to do the edible silver and gold glitter. So that's coming. That'll be popping on my Instagram. That'll be popping up on Let's Food with Tiffany Facebook. So yes, this is something that goes along with the single. And, a lot of people don't want to join a cooking club, although I encourage them to, because you get to travel with me. You get to see things behind the scenes, even some music that, I don't normally put up there, and other things. I do try to keep my Patreon, different, exclusive, and then Let's Food with Tiffany exclusive. And then you have social media where you show stuff, but, people are joining a fan club. So, this cookie, I was like, well, what can I do to kind of cross promote, have fun? I'm going to be doing cookies anyway. And I thought, again, it was like the angel cookie. It was actually my fiance thought about it because I think he wants cookies. But again, we're going to be in here making food. But he was like, you should do an angel cookie. And then everybody could, partake in that and have an angels all around recipe. And I thought sugar cookie, they're my favorite. They're so easy to do. And I'm going to put little zhuzh, I call it a zhuzh on mine. But I'm going to put a little bit of flavoring here and there. You could do different flavorings if you like, or just a traditional sugar cookie, but they're pretty. So I'm actually doing them tomorrow. I have my early family Christmas that my son goes to California every year. So I'm having Christmas early. We do that every year so he can go off and be with his other side of his family. So I'm going to make all my cookies tomorrow. Batter up. Here we go. I hope I'm not wearing cookies, by the time the new year comes around, because it really is an eating time for my family. I love to cook, and that's what I'll be doing tomorrow. We're making lasagna, and not so much traditional. I've already made my bird and all of that for Thanksgiving, and then we will celebrate Christmas again, and where I'll make the ham and Thanksgiving and turkey, just like my grandma. I'll make all her recipes.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I know you got a lot of social media stuff going on. You have a lot of different avenues and stuff. Tell everybody where they can find your music, where they can find your cookbooks, where they can find more about you and any of your social media, just so we can point them in that direction.
I always say tiffanytunes.com, everybody. That's all things Tiff World. It shows Let's Food with Tiffany, Radical Reds, new merch, all the new merch I have out. Of course, the vinyl, angels all around. And the cookie recipe will be up on Let's Food with Tiffany on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, follow me because I have new adventures coming there. As soon as the new year rolls around, I'll be in Vegas working some cooking and be with Chef Alicia. So she's vibrant, she's fun, and she's killing it on the strip. So you want to be a part of that because, she is, again, quickly become a big mentor to me. And I'm really looking forward to spending some time in Vegas and being under her care and getting this cookbook out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And definitely when you're coming down to Epcot again, I will be there to watch it for sure, because that was a fun day. And hopefully I'll get to go up to stage, come down and I get to say hi again.
Well, definitely. You don't just email me. We'll get you backstage.
That would be awesome. I would love that.
Awesome, babes. Well, thank you for your time. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you, Tiffany, for coming on. This has been a lot of fun. I'll definitely want to get you back on again. And you have a wonderful new year. Happy New Year. Hopefully good things. And of course, a very Merry Christmas.
Thank you so much. Thanks, babes. Bye.
You guys, that's it for us today. I will be back again with more fun stuff to talk about. So definitely keep checking the website. You never know what we got. So I will see you then, and have a great day. Bye, everybody.